the meditation that I'm going to do is more centered around choosing a chakra. I talked a little bit yesterday, I think it was lunchtime, about the soul narration and animal spirits or guides. So I will do that, and you'll get to kind of feel into your body which spot, which chakra is kind of talking to you more than another. And that's just for your own benefit. And then I wanted to share this. It was written by a curator. She's from Britain, but it's called, because when I went to school, we got two textbooks that were written by a father and then the son. It was called Jansen, Jenscn, and that was an art history, all from the perspective mostly of women. She wrote this book called The Story of Art Without Men. And she literally starts into the 17th century. And for all of you aspiring artists out there, or artists, professional artists, I think everyone should have it on their bookshelf because, as she says right here, artists pinpoint moments of history through a uniquely expressive medium, and it allows us to make sense of a time. If we aren't seeing art by a wide range of people, we aren't really seeing society, history, or culture as a whole. And so I hope more books will follow this one, expanding the canon, including women even more. Of course, hi there, Nancy. There are times, especially like in my Dive Deep program, where I talk about closing your studio door so you don't have so much influence, because there's a time to imitate, and then there's a time to just feel lost so you can find yourself. Kind of like the idea where I say my job is to confuse and confound, because when we're confused, we're not so linear, and it can be a way in the uncomfortableness to strip ourselves bare and become vulnerable, because within that vulnerability we can shine the light on ourselves and find what it is we really want to say. And that doesn't mean we're going to find it right away, but we have to be willing to make ugly paintings, make a mess, go to the dark places. The shadow, our shadow selves, we all have a shadow, and there's that dichotomy about living in duality. So, highly, you all can look through that. You're all going to work for a while, and I'm going to do this before lunch because you can make as many as you want. I've been making soul cards since about 2000, and I guess I did a workshop at Brighton Bush in Oregon. Somebody has the TM on soul collage, but I utilize it in this painting practice, and you'll see why later when we're talking about our work. I'm going to pass some of these around, and it's unfortunate, but usually I date. Like this one says November 27th, 2018. And I can literally track my life and things that are going on in my life. See if I can pull this one. This was winter solstice, also 2018. We'll just go like this. This is when I was going through a breakup, August 2010. So I've been doing this actually quite a while. And you can see, and here's the thing. Remember I was talking about when we paint and not think? When we pull out the materials, which will be literally glue sticks, X-Acto blades, and magazines, you don't even have to think. But what I'm going to have you do is you're going to do a ground figure. figure ground. So I will show you before we start how I cut something that is a background. Like this one gets lost, but notice how the hawk is a little, it's camouflaged into the scene itself. I bought some land in Ojo Caliente, and I was thinking of doing a barn dominium, which I'm not sure I want to do a barn dominium anymore, but I made a card. This one is, I was so sick with the flu. Oh, I had the flu and I made this card while I had the flu. You know, when you're starting to feel better, but so anyway, this, and you'll all be doing that. And then we'll work with the card you made with the paintings you're doing, not to like paint a lion, but some people do if I have a lion in a card, but it's more to tap into what's going on in your soul. And is it projected through color or shape? Or anyway, there we go. Anyone have any questions? You're laughing.
I do.
Yes.
Are we gonna actually use collage on our template?
Well, of course you can, but
But
see how little these are?
Yeah.
It gets lost. It's more to inform you, but of course you could start cutting up bigger shapes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you know, my work changes. Like I have so many layers, and that doesn't mean you need to paint that way. I use it primarily for texture, and I'm going to give you all an example. I have this painting. You see this painting on the left? Well, it became the painting on the right. This painting became that. Okay. So I have it right here. I'm going to give you an example. I'll paint with acrylic and paint. Collage can go on top of acrylic, but it can't go on top of oil, right? But I'm really interested in texture. This is just tissue paper. And so it's not really, there's a collage, but you can see that red painting was it's underneath here and you can't see it. I call it ascension. So there must be 4 paintings, 5 paintings. That doesn't mean you need to paint that way, but paint big is for allowing for the process to develop. See that painting there? It's probably look like that. I'll probably put tissue paper all on the bottom and then with glue and water. Now, if you wanted to collage that, see that little collage, you would get lost.
Yeah.
Unless you do it in concentrated areas. And because it does start telling a narrative story. Oh yeah, I have a painting on the back. This was from my membership program. I'll just share this. It was called a memory painting. My very first memory was being in one of those little donuts as a baby, and there was a TV. My first memory is the NBC Peacock. Oh my God. It is hilarious. So,
Wow. Not the painting.
yeah, but I remember it, and you know what? I was born in '64, so it must have been that. Who knows? But it was when it went. What I remember was black and white turning into color,
Wow.
literally. And I think they had a show where color TV was introduced. Anyway, it's something to think about. Memory paintings are a wonderful thing to do. And another thing, if you really want your own language, to go really look at something, like go to a gallery or museum. Don't take a picture. Just sit in front of it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or something in nature. Then go, even if an hour or 2 pass, and paint what you remember, because that gets you to what is essential really quickly, what's important to you. That's a wonderful exercise. I recommend it for everybody. Memory painting. I think I covered everything so far. So we're gonna paint till about at 11:45. I'll start demoing this soul collage, and you can make one, and then I'll just sort of have the materials out. You can make one for lunch, and then you'll hang them up next to your paintings. You can do as many as you want, but when we sit down and work with the card, I'll probably have you choose one, maybe two. Okay, so that's my little spiel. What do you, let me do a little check-in. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Although I had a very, a lot of dreams last night, very weird.